It's been a while since I've been working on this. I finally got the parts in. I ordered tie rod ends from Highlifter in the US, and just got them today. So let's see what's inside the box. All right, so here's some tie wraps for the boots. There's the tie rod end here. We'll have to take that out, and then the other tie rod end with the adjusters, and how handy, some instructions, and a couple of stickers. Nice sticker here for Highland. Put that on the toolbox, and another warning sticker here telling me that the vehicle's been modified. So let's open these bags up here and see what's inside. So here's a tie rod end here. It's a new lock washer, which is good. My goodness, this thing is heavy built. This is actually nice and greased up too, so which is good. But what I really like about this is how heavy duty this thing is. This looks really, really heavy duty. And let's look at the other parts. These are what they call high-him, or I can't even pronounce it, but tie rod ends. They're should be a lot more solid, and not too sure how you lube these things, probably with some kind of like motorcycle chain oil or something. I can't believe how sturdy this thing looks. So let me assemble this and I'll compare it to the original tie rod, and you'll see how heavy duty this is. Right, there you have them, both tie rod ends side by side. This is the original. Looks a heck of a lot more flimsy. The shaft is flimsy. As you noticed, I bent the tie rod end here. This joint is shot. The tie rod end here is shot. This is a heck of a lot sturdier. The ball's on the inside on this one, and I'll load this thing up quite a bit with grease. It's got obviously a big piece of metal here, which is the adjustment. These joints look really, really good as well. So I'm all in all very, very pleased with this product so far. Looking forward to the rest of the assembly. And one thing for sure is this is not going to break. So if I'm going to have any issues with my Rhino steering, it isn't going to be this. It's probably going to be the rack that's going to blow up on me. But this should take the punishment. Right, so I thought I'd show you how I assemble this. The lock washer that comes with it is basically not the right one for the Rhino rack here. I'm assuming these tie rod ends are probably from some kind of small Japanese car perhaps, or some kind of small car, and these come with it. I'm just assuming this, by the way, but they don't fit. You need to use the factory washer, and they even say it in the instruction because it'll actually fit here. So what you need to do is you need to put your boot on your tie rod end here. That's what I'll do. And what I've done is I've taken some good old Molly slip grease here, and I've packed this this ball joint here. Just want to put a lot of grease here. Not that this grease is going to necessarily get into the joint, but I want to protect it. I don't want any water or anything going in here. So I put a grease nipple on the rack itself. I want to make sure that this stays nice. So I'm just going to screw this rod in here to the end. Just going to line up my washer here. There you have it. It's nice and in there. I'm just going to need to tighten the rod here with a wrench, and then punch back the washers here to prevent it from loosening. And that's as simple as that. Then I'll probably end up packing this up with grease anyways, sliding it back, putting my my tie wraps, and sealing this up. So that's what I'll do. All right, so it's a 19 millimeter wrench, and try to tighten the joint here. And obviously, you don't need to torque this down too much, just tight enough, because you'll be bending back the washer, and this thing isn't going anywhere. So now it's tightened. I'll smash down the washers, and we're almost done. I'm done assembling this thing, and it's ready to go back into the Rhino. It is extremely nice and tight, this steering column now. I mean, our steering rack, the bushing has really worked out well. I filled these boots up with some grease to make sure that if water did ever get into it, there's going to be plenty of grease. I do have my greaser to refill it later if I have to. I'm really pleased, as I said, with these tie rod ends. They're really sturdy. I had mentioned in a previous video that I thought these things were from a car. I did a little bit of research based on the numbers I found on it, and they appear to be probably from a Honda Accord or Honda Odyssey. So this tie rod end piece here is most likely from a car, and what clued me in on that was the fact that the washer that came with it couldn't be reused. We had to use a factory washer, so I assumed that this was from another vehicle, and I think I found the vehicle. But even if you went out to a car store and bought this, or a car parts store and bought the tie rod on yourself, you'd still have to find this big nut and the joint. And I think for the price that Highlifter sells these things, you can't go wrong. Order it from them. It's a great product. It all comes with instructions and everything, and you're ready to go. So let's assemble this thing, and we'll go from there. So one of the modifications you got to do to your front tire spindle here, or wheel spindle, is drill out the hole where the tie rod end goes. The manufacturer tie rod end is a metric tie rod end, and what Highlifter provides you with is a 3/4 inch bolt that's going to hold the tie rod end in, and since it's a 3/4 inch bolt, it's a 1/2 inch hole, so you need a 1/2 inch drill, and you need to drill that out. Obviously, once you drill this thing out, you're committed to this type of setup. You won't be able to go back to the original manufacturer's tie rod ends. So I'm going to drill out the hole. As you can see, the 1/2 inch bolt doesn't fit in there, so let me drill this thing out. There you go, drilled out. Now my bolt fits in there, so we can continue our assembly. All right, so put this steering back in here. I'm going to put a little bit of a thread lock on these bolts. I mean, these are steering components. I would hate to have one come off, or a few come off, and then end up losing the steering while driving. So from a safety standpoint, I'll put a bit of a blue thread lock on it, and I should be able to remove these with an impact or a wrench after. I got the rack in there, and I did get the 4 bolts in nice and tight. I did need a flex socket and even a flex wrench. It is kind of hard to get at some of these bolts, but with the right tools, it's not too much of a problem. So got them in. I'm going to put the tie rod ends into the wheel spindles here and start doing an alignment. Alright, so I've got the rack in, bolted. I got both tie rod ends bolted to the spindle. And I've lined up the rack in the middle based on the marks I made. And just to check to see on a visual how bad the wheels are. The right one here is definitely towards the outside here, like a toe out. So I'm going to line these things up visually first as much as I can, and then I'll start measuring for toe in and toe out. So I adjusted the toe in. I gave myself a little under 1/4 inch of toe in because I want the Rhino to ride well and straight. We did multiple road tests. I did some minor adjustments at the end, but I think I've got this thing pretty well dead on right now. I had to readjust the centering of my steering wheel. It was off a bit before to start with, but I adjusted. The one thing I can say is I am extremely pleased with the result. This steering is stiff. It's never been as stiff since I've owned the Rhino. Stiff in that it's nice and tight. There's zero movement in the wheel, zero movement in the steering. Nice and good control. I'm very, very pleased with that. I believe the Highlifter product is phenomenal. It's a great upgrade to your Rhino, and I'm sure that that's going to outlast many of the other parts that are going to wear out before that. Those tie rods wear out. So very pleased. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that some of the tips and some of the upgrades I did will be of use to you. Thank you.